Hi, I was checking out my Instagram page, and on the paper, or theoretically speaking, I have about 852 girlfriends, many of them very pretty blondes, but they are like, many of them are like my kind of girlfriend, roommate, Jackie. She was one of them, Christian Bible bangers. She was really pretty, blonde, tall, but every time I tried to touch her, she slapped me in the hand, and it was like one of those girlfriends, but no touchy, no feeling. I think that many of the girlfriends I have on Instagram, they're like that. They're like a front uh, for Nigerian hackers, or those guys. They steal the pics from Facebook and then they put it on Instagram, and then they start talking to you, texting only, nothing else, and then after a while they'll ask for your credit card or your I don't know. The whole thing seems bizarre and funny, but hey, I get the request to follow, and I follow her, and everything looks fine on paper. I wish I could get even like 10 of these women to show up, or I could do video chat with them. I'll be doing pretty good. Anyhow, I wanted to talk about uh, some stuff that they are they are doing on Kaiser report. I watched that a lot because I'm interested in cryptocurrencies and mathematics, or modeling economic systems, stuff like that. And yeah, uh, Mr. Kaiser and Stacy Herbert, they talking about the inflation that's hitting the United States. Is now we have so far this year projected to be 6%, 7% inflation for products in the United States, and the government or the Fed, they haven't even released all the stimulus they have promised. So I think that because because Biden took his time and the Congress screwed around and kicked this stimulus around so much, and they reduced it when it really hits, like, I don't know, somewhere in December, then the amounts and the way it came in, it will be just a kind of a piss off, and many people will be more pissed off than happy about seeing because the economy, the underlying economy is garbage, and they were all like watching all these stimulus talk and shows, but the guys that are actually paying the bills, they're paying it out of wages. Many of them, they don't have wages, they have unemployment benefits, or from savings or from borrowing, and then the whole thing looks like a big those we used to have these kind of lotteries in Iran. They used to sell them uh, in the schools, and there were like little bags you buy, and some of the bags had money in them, many of them didn't. So they called the ones that didn't have any money in them, they call them poochie, or pooch. Pooch means zip or nothing. So this is gonna be like a kind of like a pooch a Christmas, like a whole lot of talk, and then I don't know how the repercussions will be for Democrats, because they have been pissing around with this all year long, and we have the inflation, but we don't have the money, and people and companies that have been spending the money, thinking, hey, there is money coming in, but there really wasn't any for many, many months. And uh, I don't know how it will be, or if they're gonna have a monthly payments or not. Well, they were talking about issuing Fed coin, because Fed is a bank that Biden can tap into and have them issue the money that many low-income Americans direly need, without going through these politicians we have that they they want to feel that they are the ones that have done all these beautiful things for us. And I don't know, I'm getting ready another 2 weeks to make a video, psychic predictions for 2022. And usually in the in the psychic predictions, I kind of review what I had said in the past year. In this review, uh, well, some of it is going to be about Israel, but I want to, before I do that, I want to make a video that is, how sometimes a big mafia or a big a hotshot, he dies, but they hide the fact that he is dead. Like a video, I could make a video. Is Netanyahu really dead? Because they haven't heard anything from him for a long time. Usually, when he's alive, he would be calling his air force, and they would be flying over to Lebanon or Syria and bombing the poor guys' houses every like 2 3 weeks, and to show the world that, hey, we exist and we can do damage. But I haven't heard anything after the war with Hamas, 11-day or 13-day war. I didn't hear anything from Netanyahu. The last I heard is that he has agreed to all the ceasefire terms. I think they killed him, or well, another thing that the Israelis keep very hush hush is that there were about 6,000 very high power missiles that were fired at Israel from Hamas, and many of these missiles, they were ballistics, very high explosives, and the Iron Dome didn't work. Well, if you add up all the explosive powers of such so many rockets, do they add up to 10, 20 nuclear bombs that could have gone off? I think that there just was a lot of damage to Israel, but they didn't broadcast it. We are pretty much in the dark. I mean, I could make the video, is Israel dead or is Netanyahu dead? Or we don't hear anything from them, or they're a pretty belligerent nation. They wouldn't leave any nation around them alone. I mean, there was nothing going on for a while, and suddenly one or two Israeli jets went over Lebanon, and they shot at the nitric or nitrate storage facility. It was like a nuke has gone off in Beirut airport. A lot of people got injured. Many homes were destroyed. Um, well, towards the end of the Hamas war, Hamas had high precision rockets that Iran had helped them get, and they were destroying Air Force bases. Israel has, I don't know how many F-35s they got at. I don't know. Well, since then, I haven't heard anything from Israel. They haven't gone around. They haven't. Well, I shouldn't be talking about this stuff. Maybe they'll start. Hey, we are still alive. Let's bomb something. Well, the another topic for the psychic predictions for 2022 is that even though there there is some inflation in United States, 6%, and some of it has nothing to do with the money printing. I think it has to do with the fact that many people that work in U.S. ports, they're really a remnant of mafia, what's racketeers or teamsters, that they have a blockage or control over these ports, and they take their time and let the products in. So that's why products are not getting in. There is shortages. But outside of this beautiful house on the hill in United States, or in some other beautiful houses on the hills in Germany or Europe, where the ECB publishes any kind of money and hand it over to their favorite citizens. Outside of these areas, many countries they have products that they have to make, and they have to sell those products in the international market, and they have to actually compete, and they have to sometimes sell their products cheaper so that it can get the foreign currency. There is no inflation over there. There is deflation. There is deflation in oil, because there's a lot of oil being produced. Is producing oil or digging it out of ground is no nuclear science. Is very old technology. Even many technologies that have to do with the purification of oil into gasoline and other products, they are extremely old. We are talking 1900s, 1920s. Well, some of the filters that Iran sold to Venezuela, well, they were a little bit more advanced. You could use it to purify heavier oil. Yeah, you could say that they could be technically considered high tech. I would use that term very lightly, but many industries, they're crap. They're very old technology, and it takes very little outside of labor, which is cheap in many countries, like making eggs, making bananas, making let's see, kerosene, gasoline, making cars that run pretty good, making tires, making many different medicines. It doesn't take rocket science. And the technology is there, and many countries are desperate to sell these things to attract foreign currency. Uh, there is no inflation there. There is just deflation. That they want to sell this stuff, get the money in, and I think another thing that's happening because of cryptocurrencies and let's see, because of the internet, because many places you can get on the internet, use your cryptocurrency, whatever it may be, Bitcoin or other stuff, and buy from the absolutely cheapest producer in the world. So also you don't have to be sitting in United States. You don't have to sit in Germany. You could be sitting in Nigeria. You could be sitting in Western Africa, in Pakistan, in Central Asia. And what is actually happening is that the capital that United States or ECB or other countries are carelessly just publishing credit, is finding its way, bypassing any kind of sanctions or control or anything, into the pocketbook of many producers, the cheapest producer. This is actually the hidden hand of the market. The market is now the world. The currency is cryptocurrency. The way to buy and sell is through internet, and capital is finding productivity, and the cheapest and the best prices is winning all around. So many countries, they're going to grow double digit, 10, 20%. uh, and this is the trend for 2022. You will see that some countries that Trump might call shithole countries, like like Nigeria or Cameroon, or places you haven't even heard of. They will get on the international trade, and they very effectively compete with major countries, with Germany or with the United States, with South Korea. Uh, while Iran, President Raisi, no, I think it was Khamenei, he ordered blockage of household goods, like like a coffee maker, stuff like that, from South Korea, because South Korea was refusing to pay us our oil money. But the Iranian Navy caught up with them and made them pay the $8 billion they owed us. But Khamenei ordered their imports of their products blocked, and then Iranian domestic production of stuff like that. It doesn't take rocket science to make a coffee maker, or to make a can opener. We are making that stuff. We are selling it to our own selves. Why can't we export it? And we are exporting them too. So I mean, I think that the world economy is taking off like a rocket. And because the capital that's so carelessly published by Europe or by United States is finding its way to the people who are actually the producers, or the cheapest producers. The capital is finding the most useful, most productive. This is competition. This is real capitalism, and this is a trend. Well, another thing that's happening, and it's also happening to a greater extent in the United States and Europe, is that, like, individuals, uh, especially people who, like, they are like the lowest rank in society, like in United States, like, I don't know, the lowest income, the minorities, some reservation Indians, stuff like that. These lowest ranking people, because they now have a lot of control over their money through cryptocurrencies. Uh, they are they are becoming sovereign, not only as a community to some extent, because many of these communities are very much broken through corruption or other mechanisms. But not only they are becoming sovereign in that sense, but they are becoming sovereign on individual level. That like this guy, he's janitor somewhere, or he's like he's he can act as a central bank. He can act as a stockbroker, or as a commodity trader, or Uh, well, I think this trend with extreme sovereignty, even to the smallest level, uh, has been happening with like some organizations that were beaten down before, like Hamas or Palestinians. They now have uh, really upper hand even to Israel. The I heard that there is a bases all underneath Israel, underground bases, and they get their money from all these Muslim Arab countries. I don't- Who's got the upper hand over there? Who's like in charge? I think it's the Palestinians, but we'll see later on when. Uh, Well, there is a. I go to the temple, Sufi temple, and I had this teacher. Actually, this teacher, his name was Mr. Kasravi, older gentleman. He was the like the highest ranking Sufi teacher in this school. He was only after the new Sufi master uh, was the just the next. I mean, in this theology, and the guru, my guru, the Sufi master, he let me study under him, Mr. Kasravi, and there was just one other students that he would come, uh, and he was narrating this thing. He said that. Uh, Me and the old Sufi master, we were in a mosque, and uh, we were watching. You know how the the mosque, they have like a tall, which is like a arch, very large arch, and he was saying that like on the sides there were this parastu, which is like a small bird, had made a little place for herself, and she had like babies, and there came this crow, was coming in and instigating, was trying to like get at the babies of the parastu, the little bird. Anyhow, the Sufi master said, me and the Sufi master, we were watching this episode, and the Sufi master told Mr. Kasravi, said, now look at these two birds. Do you see how the little bird is like struggling, like to defend her own little place, but look how I'm going to influence this little bird. Uh, this little bird is gonna pluck the eye of the and the little bird was struggling for a while, and the Sufi master, he concentrate on the little bird. Suddenly, like the scene changed, and the little bird just dashed at the crow, and hit the crow in the eye, and the crow was just falling off of the sky. Like well, what I remember from this episode is like from what this teacher said, is that the the cryptocurrencies, the internet, and the international trade, the way it's going between many small nations, and also the deflation that's accompanying this, because many of these nations, they're small, they have a few dollars, they go around and they buy stuff as cheap as they can. This is just like many underdogs, they're all around. They suddenly getting the upper hand, uh, you don't know what might happen. They might pluck the eye of the eagle, you know. That's really funny story I just remember from the past. Anyhow, this is one of the other trends for the year 2020. Double digit growth in many small nations, extreme sovereignty everywhere, and when many individuals in many companies, many countries, they are really sovereign, then municipalities, many governments, they'll become irrelevant. They are there, like the Fed will be there, will be publishing these monies and will think or will do try to influence the markets, and there is all this other stuff going on the side. It's interesting to see what will go on. I'm gonna be making another video. Uh, it's I'm gonna call this one "Demons of Extreme Market Dislocations," which means that the U.S. Fed has been pumping all these monies into different sectors of U.S. economy and the market that are really zombie companies, zombie industries. It's like that's why it's called extreme market dislocations, which means there is a price for many buildings, there is a price for many stocks or tech companies, but these that's why it's called the demons. They're like the demons that will get out of the underworld. They will be either flying off to somewhere, or they will be falling off the sky. You know, these dislocations that have been building up in U.S. Equity markets, in bonds, in they are like a ticking time bomb. Who knows what will trigger one of these things from just imploding. Uh, I mean, if you pumped just a tremendous amount of money into a market that totally doesn't deserve it, and who knows what will come out. I mean, only examples that in the real world is like some guys, some shepherds or some camel riders in Dubai. It used to be like the only thing they worried about was how much milk we can get from these camels, and which one we can sell and make more money, and suddenly billions and zillions of monies came into there. Like these people are just no wonder they're going all around the world and paying off all these terrorist organizations. They're just suddenly they were ushered into fantasy land, like or what happens in other industries, say for example in the tech sector in United States. Well, most of the stuff that's in the tech sector is made in Vietnam or Japan, and they're extremely cheap hardware, and the software is like open source. Somebody in some Bangladesh, wrote this code, and it just the product came in, but now it's called Facebook, or it's called I don't know. Tesla or whatever. I got all these valuations, and it's just like those camel riders. Or is this gonna be like a subject for psychic predictions for 2022? I think it could be uh, one last, one, two last topics. Actually, it's three. Is that because of all this fiasco with stimulus, uh, many people they're gonna lose confidence in the government, in Democrats, or we don't know what might happen there. But also there is a psychic prediction by Edgar Casey that in some future uh, many Americans will live a very insecure, uncertain lives. There is no personal securities. Uh, I don't know. I did predict a conflict with China that might come up, but just a total collapse in confidence. And uh, I think we are overdue for a bloody coup. Well, I thought that when Trump attacked the Capitol Hill with his followers, that many U.S. politicians would get killed then. But I guess God gave them respite. But these people have a lot of karma because of wars that they have waged on the many countries, or extreme market dislocations is another karma. Oh. Have you seen that movie Batman? There is an episode that it kind of tries to show it as in a cartoonish way, all how the karma becomes like an underground river. It's just the place is ready to explode and become a whole city of septic tank. But thank you for being in my YouTube channel and in my uh, Instagram. If you are one of these 852 blondes that supposedly my girlfriends on Instagram, I would really like to have video chat. I mean, to know you, to know that you're a real person. Thank you. Have a good one. Please subscribe and don't be shy. Leave comment.